In the distant future, a ship is carrying a group of passengers in cryosleep and is hit by space debris and the captain is killed. The crew attempts to land on a nearby planet, but the comms are lost and their ship is out of control. Fry wants to drop the passengers to try and save the ship, but Owen, her co-pilot, stops her. She managed to land the ship, but it was a crash landing. One of the passengers is a prisoner named Riddick. He has surgically modified eyes that allow him to see in the dark but are highly sensitive to light. Riddick manages to get out of his pod and attacks the man escorting him, Johns, but he is subdued. Fry finds Owens, who was impaled by a piece of metal. The ship's medical supplies were lost, so she puts him out of his misery. The crew looks around, seeing that most of the passengers are dead and the planet is a desert wasteland with little features. The survivors thank Fry for landing safely, not knowing she wanted to dump all the passengers. Riddick notices a way to get out of his confinement and runs into the desert. The surviving passengers get whatever weapons and supplies they can. They want to travel at night, but another sun is on the horizon, so there isn't any night time on the planet. As the group moves out, Riddick follows them. They come across what looks like an abandoned research station. Fry comes across a ship that was left behind and sees it as a way off the planet. Back at the ship, a passenger who survived the crash comes to the other survivors, but Zeke thinks he's Riddick and kills him. Zeke goes to bury his body and is attacked and pulled into a hole. Riddick is spotted near the body and they think he killed him. Riddick and Johns fight. Riddick has his glasses knocked off and he is blind in the sun. He is detained and survivors want to leave him for dead. Fry goes to look in the hole to try and find a body. She finds that the rock outcrops are hollow and are full of predators. She is attacked and tries to climb, but a safety rope is holding her back. She barely is able to get away and almost gets pulled back underground. Johns makes a deal with Riddick that if he helps the crew, Johns will say he died in the crash. Johns frees him, and after a tense standoff they have a deal. The group goes back to the research station with power cells to get water and to test the dropship. Riddick looks around and realizes that something bad happened, and that's why the outpost is abandoned. One of the Imam's followers goes into a locked area and is killed by the creatures. They know the creatures like the dark and think that they are safe because outside it's always daylight. Fry remembers something she saw in the outpost and figures out that an eclipse is coming soon. Fry finds out that Johns isn't a cop but a bounty hunter and a drug addict. The eclipse starts faster than they thought and they rush back to the crash site to go get the power cells they need. It's too late and their solar-powered vehicle goes out. The creatures kill one of the passengers. The survivors try to hide in the ship, but they are forced to flee and carry the power cells from the crash site to the outpost with Riddick guiding them. They all carry different light sources to try and protect them, but Paris runs away in fear, cutting out their light source. He is surrounded and killed by the creatures. Riddick reveals that Jack, a child who survived the crash, is actually a girl and is attracting the creatures. Johns tries to conspire with Riddick to use the survivors so they can get away. He wants Riddick to kill Jack, but that angers Riddick. They start to fight. Riddick injures Johns and leaves him to be eaten by the creatures. Riddick drags the power cells behind him as they run to the compound. The creatures start eating each other, raining blood and body parts down on them. Jack is attacked and Riddick kills the creature with his knife. It starts raining for real, which puts out the little light they had protecting them. Imam's last follower is killed and Riddick finds a cave for the last 3 survivors to hide in. He seals them inside the cave and goes for the drop ship with the power cells. The group finds glowworms inside the cave and uses them in bottles as a light source. Fry uses the bottle to get to Riddick before he takes off and leaves them. He wants them to leave the others behind, but she convinces him to help. They all make it into the ship, besides Riddick, who uses the creature's blind spot to try and trick it. Fry finds an injured Riddick, trying to get him to the ship, but is impaled and pulled into the sky by the creatures. He gets back to the ship and the 3 survivors leave the planet. Riddick waits until the ship is surrounded to kill as many of them as possible. When they ask what to say about him, he says to tell the authorities he's dead. That's it for Pitch Black. Please like, subscribe, and share with friends. Leave a comment below if you have a movie you'd like to request.